Good morning and a very warm welcome to all the esteemed panelists, moderator, and the delegates joining us on day 2 of BFSI Finnovation Conclave. We had a very interesting day one yesterday where more than 30 CIOs from BFSI and insurance sector companies they came and discussed about technology adoption in BFSI. Before going further with this particular discussion, I would like to thank our industry partners, Avaya, Fortinet, Preston, Devanagari, Mappa India, and Click, without whose support this conclave would not have been a success. Now, I would like to introduce the esteemed panelist of this particular session, which is Transforming Security for Business Agility in BFSI. I would like to welcome Mr. Avinash Shukla, DGM and CISO, UCO Bank. Welcome, sir.
Yeah, thank you
Then
and good
we
morning.
have, then we have Ms. Babitha BP, CISO of Catholic Syrian Bank. We welcome you, ma'am. We have Rishikant Dubey, Chief Risk Officer, Muthoot Microfin Limited. We welcome you, sir.
Good morning.
Next, we have Mr. Balram Choudhary, CISO, ASK Group.
Hi, good morning, guys.
Good morning, sir. Then we have Mr. Naseem Halder, CISO, Acko. Welcome,
Good morning,
sir.
guys. Thank you.
We have Mr. Ashwin Prabhu, Head IT and Engineering, KreditBee. We welcome you, sir.
Hi
Last
everybody.
but not the least, the moderator of this session, Mr. Kanishk Gaur, founder, India Future Foundation.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Pleasure to connect with you all. I hope you and your families are keeping in good health.
Now, I would like to hand over this particular session to Mr. Kanishk Gaur.
Thank you. So in today's session, we will be discussing on transformation security for enabling business agility in banking and financial services. And I have an eminent panel of specialists with me across banking and financial services. So we'll be discussing on various kinds of threats, issues which have come during the time of COVID. And as we move towards hybrid working models or going back to office, what kind of challenges do banking and financial services organization face specifically when it comes to managing the transformation times? My first question is around how can cybersecurity solutions help banking and financial services organizations detect, monitor, report, and counter cyber threats while preserving confidentiality of information systems? Can I start with Babitha? Babitha, your thoughts on how we can...
Yeah, thank you, Kanishk. See, when it comes to cybersecurity, now it is the need of the hour. Earlier, when we talk about cybersecurity, we never think like it will happen in our environment. Normally, that is, it was like it was happening somewhere in the world. But during this pandemic, we have come across with a lot of cyber attacks, which has given us a sense that it can happen tomorrow at any moment, even in our premises. So that has elevated the importance of cybersecurity during this time. Attacks were happening earlier also. I'm not telling that it was not happening. It is happening definitely, but the number of instances has increased. One of the reasons which I see is that many of the people were moving to the cloud at a faster pace. And they were, while doing the migration activities or while implementing it, they may not be thinking more about the security aspects of the data, which is the crown jewel nowadays. So what are the security measures that need to be taken care in the cloud? That they are, I think there was a missing in that for the when it comes to the dealing with the encryption of the data or authentication, or giving the privilege to people who need the access or the need-based access. So all these are some basic things which is there earlier also, but we have to emphasize more nowadays. And during this time, we have come up with the zero trust architecture, which is a framework kind of thing, which cannot be with a single tool. It should be from, it is a multi-tagged, multi-layered tools as well as architecture, wherein it is nothing but only by default deny all the traffic, and allow only those which is known to us. So and about the technology perspective, if we are specifically talking from the technology perspective, we are now moving from the server-centric security perspective to the endpoint, because we are now without perimeters. So we don't know from where what is going to happen. Even our employees are working from home, which is a new norm which we have adopted in the last 2 years. So we are going with AI ML based technologies and user behavior analysis. We are now even adapting to passwordless authentication with adaptive authentication methodologies and all. So that is definitely cybersecurity environment is evolving with AI ML, and but the core remains the same, that confidentiality, integrity, and availability of the data. That how we are going to do it with the help of this sophisticated technology. That is what we have to think about.
Thank you, Babitha. Very interesting points raised by you when it comes to using zero trust base model, zero trust architecture, and looking at other significant threats. I would like to hear from our other eminent panelists. Rishikant, your views specifically on how we can look at cybersecurity solutions.
Yeah, that is, if we talk about cybersecurity, one biggest myth is that cybersecurity is the job of IT. So that myth we need to remove. In the sense, it is not an annual examination to pass, or we have to have a task-based things. It's a continuous things. It is not like that we have qualified for one thing and we have to be very satisfied. And other thing is like that whenever we are talking about the sophisticated tools and all, or we are talking about how to manage the cybersecurity, it all depends on not only if you are taking all sophisticated tools, your cybersecurity or space is very much secured and all, but it is on the basis of how much your system is adaptable, how much your organization is trained, how much is requirement of your organization. Accordingly, we need to take the tools and all. And when it comes to the cyber security, yes, the three things comes into my mind is, one is that we need to have an appropriate tool. Second thing is that we need to have an appropriate people. So the trained people should be there so that it can be managed well, because there are a lot of things are in the market, but if we are not having the people in place, then data availability or appropriateness of the security systems it can be jeopardized at any point of time. Third thing is that how our people are aware, means how we are making aware our people to use all these tools, or how our people are aware about the cyber security. So all these three things we need to be keep in mind when we are talking about the cyber security. And foremost thing is that cyber security needs to be independent. Most of the organizations are doing this, but it needs to be independent from the IT, and IT should implement it. But the main thing is that who is going to think over it is the cybersecurity people only. So that is one my take on the cybersecurity space. Thank you.
Thank you. Balram, your views?
Yeah, thank you very much. And first of all, thank you, Kanishk, to onboarding me. So my answers would be the same what that Babitha and other co-panelist was telling. But you know that you have raised a question about how we can manage, detect, and respond to the threat in the new era which is coming. So it's not the comprehensive cybersecurity we need to think about on from starting from end user to perimeter level, and nowadays we are consuming multi-cloud environment. So while we start consuming multi-cloud environment, threat may come from anywhere across the globe, because I don't know where that cloud and where the data resides. But altogether, security becomes anyone's responsibility from the in the organization. So what we are doing and what we have done in the past, which I can tell you. So we have created, the SASE approach, secure access services, where we have implemented couple of technology starting from end user, be it EDR, be it DLP, be it DRM, be it encryption software to safeguarding customer information. And then we have put some kind of new generation secure web gateway from, because of that, the work from any scenario. Now that operational efficiency again become a challenge for the organization. You will put so many security technology at your desktop, laptop, or any of the devices. So at the same time, this is the pervasive where we need to think about the application, the consumer who is going to access our applications. how to ensure those applications also is getting delivered at their laptop and desktop so efficiently. For that, we have created some kind of SD-WAN approach in work from home scenario. Now, on coming that, because we are living in the fintech era, so fintech era, we will not live without it, and we have to consume so many kinds of API, and someone else will consume to do the better handshaking. And this API economy is creating huge security risk and security issues. So which kind of, some kind of API security, API gateway, which we need to implement that. Once we are implementing these all kind of technology, so fetching the logs and creating correlations becomes very difficult task for organizations, and we need to put some kind of next generation MDR that manage detections and response, which will provide us not only to detecting the threat which is available, but response better. And same times we need to do threat intel 24/7 by 365. Then we have to create SOAR, so that the many threat which is coming on daily basis can be automated, so that the risk and load will be very less for the organization. So once we automate everything, we cannot say that we can achieve 100% security, but yes, we can modernize the security attack via doing this all those. Thank you.
Thank you, Balram. Ashwin, would like to hear your views.
Hi everybody. Delighted to be part of this panel. Yeah. So I think most of the panelists have covered quite a few points, right? Just to bring in the perspective with this pandemic coming in, right? So the opportunities that has created for the bad actors, like it has been phenomenal, right? And then that has brought in a lot of threats, and with which I think to add to that, the hybrid working model, which has kind of becoming predominant now. Earlier it was a fully remote, but now it is moving towards an hybrid model. And as Mr. Balram pointed out, I think a strong EDR solution is the need of the hour, where in which we need to have a kind of an endpoint detection, very strong endpoint detection in place, so that any kind of malware or spyware, because what has happened with this hybrid model is people have moved from a very secured corporate network to a kind of a home network, which could be a very compromised network, right? So that has created a very big kind of a challenge for all the IT and the cybersecurity people. So they have to bring in this stronger solutions in place for every endpoint which is in threat. And once you have this, now there would be so many kind of events that would be generated, which needs to be again tracking that manually would be very difficult, right? So then you need to kind of augment your SOC, which is already would have been in place, to with some kind of tools like SIM and SOAR, whatever Mr. Balram pointed out, right? So automation is again a kind of a critical thing that we need to look at as a solution, because I wouldn't say that it is like a complete automation would help. You need a manual eye on everything, but augmented with an automation, so that this particular thing can pass through, right? So with this current thing, I would say it is not a kind of a target that needs to be achieved. It is a moving target, and we need to constantly innovate. And it's obviously a race between a hacker with or on the security experts on the organization. So we have to look at it on a continuous basis, is what I would say. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Avinash, your views?
Yeah, thank you. And going ahead with what has been said, see, what is the problem that there are a lot of threats, and different type of threats and attacks are there. So it becomes very difficult for any organization, and especially for BFSI, to select the tools, because tools are also means a lot of OEMs, a lot of type of tools, and a lot of different kinds of technologies are there. So means the solution to this problem is we should move from the traditional maturity based approach, where we see that we see what kind of threats are there and what is the best tool is available for that, and those tools we are procuring, adding and integrating through our SIM and through our solution. Instead of that, we are now moving towards the risk-based approach, because we have to actually find out what actual risk are there pertaining to our organization. Like in BFSIs or in banks, there is one more thing besides this. CIA covers all. Confidential integrity and availability covers full aspect. But if you see the BFSI, there is a financial risk. Means on one attack or one simple thing, money will go, and it becomes very difficult to get it back. So there is a quick financial loss. So to combat all these, we have to move to this risk-based approach, where we will adopt as per our organization as per our environment and risk. We have to adopt a mature risk management framework, and according to that, and according to our risk appetite and all, we have to frame what security architecture, or what tools we require, and instead of tools, what kind of solution or integrated environment, security environment we will be requiring. And for that, we have to work ahead. And as it was said that zero trust, actually zero trust, rightly said by Babitha ji, that it is not a solution. It is having a lot of security solutions in layers, and a lot of other controls are there, which actually makes it zero trust. So right now, zero trust and this identity and access management, these have become very much important, because as all have agreed that our perimeter has shifted. Now, actually, we cannot say that it is shifted to endpoint or it is shifted to identity. Actually, one of the panelists said that we don't know from where something can come. So actually, we don't know where is the perimeter right now. So considering all these things, we have to think in the comprehensive way, and we have to design a solution including all these tools and technologies. So these are my views. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Naseem, would like to hear your views.
First of all, I would say thanks to all the panelists. Mostly, all the points has been covered in a pretty much, very explained. People are very clearly explained all the points. I would say, a couple of things, like we talk about how we can going to detect, how we are going to monitor, but might be we have not, talked about how exactly, we are going to solve that issue. Let's say if I talk about the endpoint part, might be we have no clarity how exactly going to patch all these things. And when the biggest problem is that when we are talking about the perimeter less environment, I don't have control that people will come into the office and how exactly I'm going to push the patches or updates in the system. So that is one thing I think. One more point I can add over there, and as it in the current scenario or current environment, I would say security become a feature of your product, become a feature of your services. Whatever service you are providing, whatever product you are providing to the markets, it's a feature. If you don't have this feature, I would say your product will be way behind from your competitors. So we have to work on that. We have to enhance our security posture, and we have to enhance our security feature to our product and services. Over to you, Kanishk.
Thank you so much, Naseem. Then my next question is: we've seen that sophisticated digital technologies are being used. Specifically, if you look at artificial intelligence, is used today specifically to handle phishing attacks, spyware, malware, and data thefts. Do you think these emerging technologies are enough, or do you need further manual intervention or human intelligence to sort this out? Babitha, would like to hear from you.
Definitely, Kanishk, we need such kind of technologies for many of the things, but I don't truly rely on the technology. Okay, so because even if we go for AI, ML and all, it has a learning phase. It takes some time to understand, and there are a lot of false positives also. So how we are configuring it and how we are fine-tuning the tools, based on that only we'll get the effectiveness of the tool. So definitely, I'm not against the AI, ML or anything of that kind, but definitely we have to go for it because it is the time. Now, if we say user behavior analysis, if a ransomware kind of attack is happening, and most of the attacks nowadays we are seeing is a zero-day attack, where we don't know what kind of payloads they will be using, or what kind of hash values or encryption methodologies they are going to use. So in such cases, we have to identify the system when the system is behaving in an abnormal way. So for that, we definitely have to go for a user behavior based analyst EDR solution in our endpoints, which will help us to give some alerts which cautions us to detect the malicious activity. And SOAR is a time where the AI/ML based SOAR also we have to go for it, but it also needs a maturity. Now the maturity curve of the AI is still, we have to gain that maturity level. So everyone is trying to adopt to the new technology, but still we have to follow the basics. Wherever the attacks has happened, if we go into the deep of that, we will see that they are exploited by the existing misconfiguration or vulnerabilities in the system, not because they are not having a AI/ML tool or anything of that kind. Just because the malicious that is end of life system or OS is there, or any system is not being patched, or if we are having a next gen firewall, in that firewall if we are giving an any kind of access, then it is no use. So whatever security tools we are having, we should definitely review it on a regular basis and see that only access is provided on a need basis. And if we have a good user behavior analysis based EDR solution, and as one of our panelists has mentioned, that now it is the API age of API and fintech, because a lot of APIs are getting connected to our environment. So what kind of connection, how the encryption is happening during the processing stage, at rest, and even when we are taking the data. So all those things we have to keep in mind, because it is not a one-time thing or one-time kind of a job. It is everyone, it's as Balram mentioned, it's everyone's responsibility. So there comes a much more importance to the awareness creation, and for that only we are using this phishing exercises, red team exercises and all, to analyze the capacity or how far our employees are able to identify a phishing mail and report. And incident response is what I am more concentrating now. When some incident happens, how far we are able to identify that incident and reduce the loss. So that is how we have to mature our system ourselves, seeing the gaps in the system. We have to analyze the gaps in the system and educate the employees, as well as when it comes to BFSI, we have to educate our customers also. What can be shared with the in the multimedia or in the social media? What if someone asks, what kind of data can be shared with that? So all these things is very, because why I am telling this is that now a lot of supermarkets are even coming with a website where we are sharing our card details in that. And if that website is getting compromised, that is more than enough for breaching a bank. So that is the kind of the way of things are moving on in the way of digitalization. But we should be cautious enough and prepared enough to see that and all these things, and we should identify at the earliest. So we need a very high capable response team for that.
Interesting point that you have highlighted, specifically using SOAR, using EDR. But how prepared are people for handling these technologies is another important question. And I want to bring in Avinash here. Avinash, how do you get your people trained specifically on emerging technologies which you would require to defend against sophisticated cyber attacks? Would you rely on the vendor, or you bring in a third party, or would you want to train your own team to do these jobs?
See, this cannot be like only vendor or only our team. Actually, it's a hybrid model where we will be having full-fledged team, and the training is an ongoing process. Like in this webinar also, we'll be learning a lot of things. So webinars, training exercises, courses, certification, everything is there. But at the same time, we need vendor support, OEM support, and facility management support also, because each and everything cannot be managed by, or all expertise cannot be gained in a single organization. So whenever whatever is required, so we will be having this hybrid kind of technologies. And second most important thing, as this phishing and all malware, spyware things are there, so a human factor is very important. That because in recent past we have seen that a lot of attacks, or majority of the attacks were successful because they were able to exploit this human emotions, or by using social engineering techniques. So apart from this technology and other trainings, we have to make our employees aware who are actually using these all application, apart from security tools, whatever applications and whatever information technology tools and softwares they are using, we have to make them aware. Even we have to make them aware how to use that email, how to identify the phishing mails, because most of the malwares and most of the phishing exercise starts with that email only. So this is also a continuous process, and in our organizations means on every twice a week we are having these conferences, webinars or training exercise to them also, to comprehensively protect the organizations. So on both front, on technology as well as on awareness, efforts are required. Over to you, Kanishk.
Thank you. Appreciate. Rishikant, your views?
Yeah, so I have started with that only, that if we are talking about the sophisticated cyber tools, how it can help. So the thing is here, how adaptive we are, and how resilient our existing system is when we are going for a sophisticated tools for the cyber security and all. Because one thing is that whether we are able to exploit our current system, our current tools what we are having before going for the some sophisticated, because if you go into the market there are a lot of sophisticated tools and which may not be of our use. So if we are implementing anything in cyber security space on like AI, ML and all, first we have to analyze what we are using, whether existing system or existing security tools are really identifying, as well as really we are exploiting that for using our correcting our system and processes. So here one thing is that we need to have very good cyber resilient system, cyber resilient processes, where we really need to implement the system in a proper way, which is adopted into this in our system. We need not to necessarily go for all the sophisticated system which are available in the market. So that is one take I want to give on the panel. That is my take. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Ashwin?
Yeah, so I think from the phishing to spyware, malware, I feel I think one Avinash rightly pointed out basically the human element, right? So that becomes the major or the weakest link in the entire chain of this one, which needs to be kind of protected, right? So the only way to tackle this is having more of awareness, security awareness trainings which are in place, as well as coming out with the phishing solution, basically trying to find out how vulnerable our employees by doing some phishing exercises and all that. And one aspect I want to bring in for the security awareness training, what I have in my personal experience is that these trainings and all become very, very repetitive and monotonous, which actually loses the interest of the people, right? So there has to be some thought process gone into this direction as to how can we bring in some gamification kind of flavor into these trainings, which can make the people more kind of focused and interested to attend this. Because what happens is it is a kind of a process that needs to be done maybe every 6 months or every 3 months based on the cybersecurity policies that the organizations have. And it becomes more of a repetitive kind of nature, and people lose this one. So we need to think about this angle also to bring in. And apart from that, from as I pointed out already, there has to be kind of technologies which are to be placed on every endpoint, like EDRs and and have this unified threat kind of management systems in place, right? Which will help to kind of prevent this spywares and malware. And systems like identity access management needs to be placed, and monitoring the active directory, right? And need to basically look at the kind of attack surface, and come up with the identifying the critical assets to kind of block by having multi-factor authentication in place and all that, right? So it's all basically a combination, to answer in one point, like it's a combination of human as well as tools going hand in hand, and augmenting each other is what I would say. Yeah. Thanks, Kanishk. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Ashwin. Very valid points shared by you. Balram?
If I am not, your question was related to either the cybersecurity solutions should be keeping in-house or we should be doing the outsource. So this depends upon organizations to organizations, how big your organization. Even altogether, most of the solutions nowadays, which is coming, be it end user side or be it perimeter side and be it cloud side, all are AIML based. So we need to fulfill that AIML is helping. Yes, it's helping, but this is a continuous process and this will not mature in a day. So we have to analyze, protect, detect, and again monitor and create a playbook, SOAR, and blah blah. But for me, outsourcing the cyber security solutions, if you ask me my personal opinion, yes, I'll say we need to outsource because we do not have so much a skill set available. If even we will not be hire to 10 or 20 technology, it's a which we are going to put inside starting from end user to perimeter to cloud. We will not be do that because we will end up with doing only the security solution implementation. So for me, yes, I will outsource. I am doing this, but this will be in that hybrid model. So how we will do? Someone will be the implementation side who put implement technology, and someone will be from the governance side who do governance and implement the proper playbook, SOR kind of environments. And I am doing since 4 5 years, and I will continue to do. But yes, governance will be with me along with the governance team, which will be outsourced, and even the technology implementations team, who will do day in, day out, the troubleshooting kind of environment. I am 100%. I'm telling it's supposed to be outsourced because we may not be able to find it out. So many skill set inside, starting from individual to perimeter to cloud and API and blah blah, whatever tools and technology are available. So I am in opinion that we will outsource. I have done it and I will continue to do it.
Thank you. Very important. Naseem? Yeah.
I will go with as other with all the follow panel members that it will be always, I would say, hybrid model. I cannot say it only be outsourced. It cannot be only to be in house, because as Balram rightly said, it will be difficult to get different skill set. Not only getting the different skill set is a difficult point, you also need to retain those skill for a long term in your organization, which if you're not able to give them enough work, if you're not able to give them enough diversity in terms of work or environment, it will be difficult to any leader, any security leader or any technology leader to retain those people. So it's always better to have a hybrid model. And what to be outsourced, what to be in-house, again, that is somehow I would say it's going to be a little bit on the organization side, but mostly I have seen the governance part is always with the organization, and I would say the technology part you can outsource because it's required to be outsourced considering the skill set, and new skills or new technologies are coming every day, right? So it's better to outsource so that you will also get trained people, and one of your headache will be outsourced, I would say. Yeah,
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Anyone else in the panel? Rishikant, you want to share your views in terms of how you would want to build the in-house team, or you would want to get an outsourced team or a hybrid model?
Yeah, it's actually, if we talk about it depends on the organization size also, and how much fit. Because if we talk about the mid-size organization like ours, so we mostly do outsourcing because hiring a people, getting a skill set is a very difficult task for us. And so for that purpose, if we are getting a good vendors, and vendors are properly managed, because vendor assessment is very proper, needs to be done. So if we are able to have a very good vendor, it's outsourcing is the one way with which we can move out. But yes, as we grow, as the data sophistications come, and if we talk about the larger banks, like if where the security issue is a major, where outsourcing may not be helpful for all purposes. It can be in some cases, but for the big banks and where the data is customer data is very important, very sensitive data is there, then at that point of time we need to think over it whether we go for the outsourcing or in-house in some cases. So that's how it might take.
Thank you. So, excellent points raised by our eminent panelists. Now, we want to discuss on how the approaches of CISOs change in managing cybersecurity holistically, especially during the time of pandemic. We had limited staff. We had few people working from office, and there was a lot of disruption of supply chain because of numerous lockdowns, people not being able to reach office. The teams in your organizations were also not behind corporate firewalls. So people were working from home, so they were vulnerable to phishing. I want to understand from you how you manage cybersecurity for your organization during this time. And we saw a large number of cybersecurity attacks, specifically ransomware, APTs, targeting banking and financial services during this period. So, Babitha, would want to start with you.
Yeah, Kanishk, before going to the question, I just want to add on to what our panelists were telling regarding the outsourcing of the activity. As rightly mentioned by Mr. Dubey, that it depends upon the organization. Just by outsourcing, it doesn't make any sense. But we have to, whether it is a cloud adoption or any technology adoption or outsourcing any activity, we should first think in mind why we want to go for an outsourced activity. We have to do a cost benefit analysis, what kind of data we are going to share with the outsourced activity, whether it is very much critical to us, and based on this only we have to go for a call whether we have to go for that outsourcing activity or not. Otherwise it will be a big problem, because the third party risk which we are talking nowadays is on a higher side. And moreover, the brand loss, if something goes wrong, it's definitely it will come to the organization only. It will affect the brand name of the organization only. So we have to keep in mind that ultimately it is the organization's responsibility that if something goes wrong, and whatever activities or service we are providing, it is the whole responsibility of the organization. So based on that, only we have to take a call on outsourcing or whatever activities is based on that. Okay, now coming to the how during the pandemic time, how organizations like us has worked is definitely it was in our banks we never used a work from home kind of culture, so we have to adopt to it, which we were not even thought about. But due to the technological advancement, and regulators have started thinking in the cybersecurity perspective from the 2016 onwards, so we were prepared enough to take that challenge, and we have come up with a dedicated VPN solution. And at times we have to give BYOD kind of access also. Those who are we are not able to provide the laptops and all on particular areas, but to make the business continue. In that cases, even we have adopted to BYOD. There we have ensured that we get the visibility of that particular asset which is connected to the bank's network by installing an EDR, bank's EDR and antivirus solution. And even in the VPN access itself, we have put the time-based access, multi-factor authentication, and we can, have taken care of the data leakage prevention by copying the data from the server to that, and we have even 4-factor authentication we have adopted to that. So it seamlessly we were able to move to this kind of an environment, because we were having some of the technologies with us, and our security features were ready with us to leverage to that. So for that definitely regulators has helped us, because in 2016 RBI has come up with cyber security framework, and which has helped the CISOs to implement a lot of security tools in our environment because of that. But definitely many organizations and here the learning from the pandemic is that we have started using testing the BCP, that even human level BCP we started doing. Earlier we were not doing that. We were focused more on the technological part. But if a person is not available, a critical person is not available, so we started circling that work among the subordinates and others. And if that, and we are asked, even regulators has come up with that key role people have to go on leave for 2 weeks to see that others can manage the situation. So now human resources, BCP of a human resource is very important. That is what we have learned from COVID, and it was a learning phase for us also. And definitely, with the help of the technology which is available, with that we are able to go with BCP, continue with our business without any interruptions.
Thank you so much. Avinash, would want to get your views on the subject. Avinash,
Yeah,
you're on.
yeah. Thank you. Actually, regarding this work from home kind of scenario or during pandemic and in the era of this digitization, rightly said, we have also adopted ourselves and we have procured and we have implemented such solution by which we were able to give access from outside. We were able to means give this BYOD access also. There are 4 or 5 things which are to be considered that we have managed, like robust identity and access management that we have to take care. Then multi-factor authentication, because a lot of phishing exercise and a lot of social engineering is going on. So after that, secure connection is very important. A lot of good solutions are there in market, so that is procured. Then endpoint security, wherever means from wherever this access is being taken, that is to be ensured. It may be by device binding or it may be by BYOD. And then anti-phishing solutions are there. Our email means whatever email system or solution we are using, they are also providing a robust email protection systems. So that is to be integrated, that we have done. Apart from that, as Babitha rightly said, there is a human factor. So this means we were having in policy and seldom we were applying in such things. But this pandemic and this kind of scenario has emphasized on the principles of that least privilege, then the segregation of duties, and then job rotation. So least privilege and segregation of duties we were doing. But this job rotation part, now RBI is also very tough on us that you have to give mandatory leave, mandatory 10, 12 days continuous leave. And that too, they have said in recent communication that it will not be taken by the employee. On surprise basis, you will say that you go on leave and for 10 days, and this is to be managed. So that BCP kind of thing, that we have to be prepared for that, otherwise we will not be able to implement such things. So on all front it is going on. And apart from that, the last thing, that continuous monitoring, that we have to ensure that we should be having capability of continuous monitoring things, because even if we implement all these solutions and precautions, there can something can go wrong. So if we monitor and if we reconcile things in timely manner, so if anything will be there, that will be caught. Apart from all these, one thing has also changed for CISOs in this pandemic and this digitization era, that earlier it was very difficult, means we were facing it very difficult to convince the top management for any new solution or any new implementation, to means convince them that yes, there is such kind of risk and it is to be mitigated and handled properly. But during this last 2.5 years, the board level means executives, they are also are now very aware of the scenario and this cyber situation, what is happening in the world, what is happening in this threat landscape. So now for CISOs, somewhat it is somewhat easy that they can convince, they can present things in to the senior management or to the board, and yeah, we can implement if something is essentially required. We can now procure and implement those solutions. So thank you. Over to you, Kanishk.
Thank you so much. Rishikant, your views?
Yeah, regarding this pandemic, if we talk, it has caught everyone unaware. If we see it's a cyber security space also, it is not much prepared when pandemic has come. But yes, we have tackled it. It was an experimentation time, because if you see last 1.5 year, 2 year, lot of experimentation has been done, and lot of attacks which never have happened has come into the picture. So yes, pandemic has changed the way of thinking of the CISOs. CISOs are now more proactive. Earlier, it was as per the regulatory guideline as well as whatever available in the market. We worked on that. But yes, with the attacks, with the different scenario change in working from home, as well as mobile devices, IoT devices, all these are going to be used. So then, lot of different management tools are different security tools has come to the picture, and implementation has also gone to. Like one example, if we can see that MDM is come into the picture. Earlier, we never thought of that because most of the people are now using that one. Second thing is that rightly Babitha madam has really pointed out that yes, the BCP has been more important now. BCP testing, and Mr. Avinash has also pointed out that BCP testing is more important nowadays because of this pandemic. So the way earlier BCP was one of the document we keep it, we occasionally test, but it is now requirement. It is now requirement, and the CISO is now more responsible on that. And yes, everybody is in, even it's a small organization, big organization, or what. The cyber security has gained a very huge importance during this pandemic. That I can say. That is my take. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Appreciate. Naseem, your views?
Well, I would say our approach was little different considering this pandemic. So Acko is a pure cloud-born company. I have no legacy system. I don't have any pain. Even I would say thanks to my HR, who has this benefit to the employee. Okay, any employee, if they want, they can take maximum 3 months of work from home. So considering all this benefit to the employee, we are already ready for, somebody, if somebody wants to do a work from home for 3 months, we are completely ready. So if you have a platform ready for allow 3 months work from home for you, it's very easy to allow this work from home within few minutes. For me, to be very honest, I think Babitha a couple of couple of minutes ago, she told the same thing, that having a JT, having a dedicated VPN, it will help. So for me, just increase the license, and being a cloud-born company, for us, increase the license hardly 15-20 minutes time, right? If I just increase the license count, my work is ready, my platform is ready. You can access from anywhere you want to have, right? So that way, I think pandemic does not impact, I would say, a lot of things in terms of business continuity. But yes, there was one area I would say we also struggle a little bit, especially my call center, because call center will not allow people them to work from home. And for them, they have a business continuity where devices are little, I would say, we have desktop for them, arranging laptop, arranging BYOD, arranging MDM for them. So those area, I would say, we took also sometime, like other people also struggle. I think that is the only area we struggle a little bit. But again, I would say, in terms of data security and the application we have used for them, we always use encrypted masked information for them. So I would say the privacy of my customer data is already intact. So I would say, this global pandemic does not hit us in terms of working from home, that scenario. But yes, in terms of business, I am sure every one of us hit it by this pandemic. Yeah, over to you, Kanish.
Thank you so much. Ashwin, your views?
Yeah, the if you see our organization, right? So we have two kinds of people, our employees, right? So one set of people, we call them as the IT folks, or the knowledge folks, right? And the other side was, as Naseem also brought the topic, right, about the blue collar or the call center folks and the operation supports and all that. So we also had a similar kind of an exercise, where in which the knowledge folks already had their basically the laptops and everything, and there was no major issues in shifting them towards the work from home kind of a scenario. But when it comes to the blue collar folks, right, so where we had to kind of in a record time arrange for devices with a good amount of securities, because these are the folks which are very very vulnerable, right? Because they're and that becomes a very big challenge from a CISOs or the cybersecurity professionals point of view. So that is where our entire BCP was focused on, kind of like, how do we ensure that because that particular part of the folks are basically directly impact the business much more higher, right? So because they need to interact with the customers, as well as they need to kind of, even in our side, we have this collection folks and everybody, because that impacts the business as well. And that is where we had to focus a lot and bring in more solutions in terms of the endpoint securities for those devices that we newly procured, as well as coming with some kind of solutions on the server side, which will help us to track and monitor every event and take some appropriate response in the rapid way. Yeah, that's my views, Kanishk. Yeah,
thank you so much. Balram, your views?
The way everyone has explained about the pandemic, I was facing the same kind of issue. We were in credit card and banking industry, whereas we were having some kind of legacy applications, client server based approach. Issue number one. Issue number two, we were in customer facing industry, where day-to-day basis customer need to call in call center. So, and number three, we were not ready for the completely work from home scenario anywhere, because we were not thinking about, because even we do have DR, we do DR only for the 35%, 50% capacity, and we were not thinking that something like the pandemic has happened will take place. Yes, we face huge challenges, but unfortunately, fortunately, we were doing some kind of POC for technology, because VPN has been that ended their era and they were vulnerable. So I was thinking, is if we will implement something where people cannot that drag the data which is critical for the organization and customer. So in this era, we have taken 15 to 20 days from come out from the situations. The biggest challenges which we face in call center, where we have not kept work from home scenario or VPN scenario for the call center executing. They are the guys who access critical applications, core applications, to reply and revert back to the customer, and at the same time give access to the applications. How we can migrate to work from home scenarios so that the call will land at their mobile platforms and mobile devices. At the same time, the same cannot be recorded. Those recordings should not be available at their mobile devices. At the same time, we should complete our purpose. So these kind of issues, yes, we have faced at least 2 to 3 months, but fortunately we have had solutions and we have handled the situations very well and implemented many kind of tools who can safeguard organization, employee and customer informations, and we are very intact. So this was the things which we faced. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Balram. Appreciate. Avinash, your views on the subject?
Yeah, actually, I have started with this only.
Yes. So, anyone else? Rishikant?
No, done with. Actually,
Okay, perfect. Yeah. I think with this, we are coming towards the end of the session. I'll hand. I think Neha is there. Any closing remarks from our panelists? Avinash, going to start with you.
Yeah. There was some discussion going on for this outsourcing hybrid model and in-house capabilities. So in that, I just want to add one point. See, it is very difficult to manage these technical things in-house, but we are finding the problem or difficulties in outsourcing also, because even if the means in system integrator or facility management vendor we have chosen or selected is very good, having very good reputation, but they are also facing with this attrition problem. They are also facing problem with retaining the talent. So we are finding it very difficult with that also. Means it becomes very difficult that we get sufficient number of trained resource and sufficiently experienced resource for managing our activities. So at last, means there is no other option except this hybrid. Somewhere if they are lacking, then we have to push, and somewhere if we don't have, then the vendor has to arrange. Like that only we'll be able to fully secure the environment. Otherwise it's very difficult.
Thank you. Babitha?
See, when it comes to cybersecurity, we should focus more on creating a culture of security creates that it is everyone's responsibility, right from the customers, employees, and other in this world. So once everyone has that idea about, and it should be part of our day-to-day activity. So simple example I'll tell you. When I'm leaving my laptop, I should lock it. That if we create a habit of that kind, to a certain extent, it is taken care. So if everyone knows about minimal cybersecurity measures that need to be taken, I think we will be able to save a lot of money as well as can secure our environment. So that cybersecurity culture need to be created all around.
Thank you so much, Babitha. Rishikant?
Yeah, when we talk about the cybersecurity, two, three things are very important, that we need to think very holistically about the organization. In the sense, it's not in the bits and pieces. The policy needs to be very clear, the BCP needs to be very clear, as well as vendor management needs to be very perfect for the organization. Because rightly said, Avinash also, Balram also, that outsourcing is the one way of going into the cybersecurity. So when we are really talking about the cybersecurity, let us have a very good vendor management system, vendor assessment system. So these things needs to be keep in mind when we are talking about the cybersecurity. As well as awareness is the one part where we need to be very much focused for cybersecurity. That is my take from this panel. Yeah.
Thank you, Rishikant. Balram?
Hi. So I'll give you only two, three thought which we think. Cyber security, we are not 100% yesterday. We will not be 100% today, and this will not be 100% tomorrow. This is the continuous process. This is the continue. Yes, you will have 100 kind of tools and technology implemented to safeguard your customer information, organizations data. Yes, but apart from that, we should be doing continuous audit, continuous cyber drill, in intrusive and non-intrusive in the natures than phishing a scam, phishing not a scam, phishing drill in your organizations. Our, that post employee awareness training. These are the things which are the continuous process which we need to follow. The way I told, 100% no one can guarantee. Hence, this is the continuous process we need to follow going forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Balram. Naseem, your views?
I think everybody has covered everything. I think nothing addition to that. Just similar thing. We may need to focus a little bit more on the third party risks, because supply chain is something we really need to consider. And one more thing is that employee awareness, or I would say awareness to the people. And I think it can be gamification, can be done, can be one option. And other option, I would say, and I personally believe that is the best option. I would say, adding something personal interest. If I do a cybersecurity awareness and I am telling you, hey, you have to do that, you have to change your password. But if I tell you, if you want to secure your Facebook account or Insta account, you need to have this kind of password, you need to have this kind of arrangement, if you need to have this kind of system or this kind of laptop or might be mobile, don't use it from some other where there are certain configuration you can do your Facebook account, there are certain configuration you can do your Insta account. Believe me, that's going to help a lot. Once these guys will do little bit dig drive on those things, you just need to increase, I would say, initiate the curiosity to them, so that they should do little bit on their own security purpose. Rest of the thing they will take care.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Ashwin.
Yeah, just to give some final remarks, right? So I think everybody, from your earlier approach of a reactive-based approach, we need to move into a proactive-based approach, right? So a lot of investments in the automation side, they bring in more sophisticated tools which will help in the proactive nature, bring in more security awareness training for the people, and finally, I think just to have a defense mechanism. There's a lot of disturbance. Yeah. So just to have a final fallback mechanism, right? Have some investments on the cyber insurance as well, which was I think not touched upon. So that is another important aspect that needs to be looked into also. Yeah. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you so much. with this, we have come towards the end of the session. I thank our eminent panelists who have given us this opportunity and shared their detailed insights on this topic. Neha, back to you.
Neha,
Sorry,
you are
Neha,
on
you're
mute.
speaking on mute.
Yeah. So it was a very interesting and insightful session. So before we come to an end of this session, we on behalf of News Network would like to felicitate all our speakers with the leadership in innovation and technology in BFSI for their contribution so far in the BFSI sector. So for that, I would request to please the web team to please present with the certain certificates. So it is APAC BFSI Finnovation Leadership Award. We would like to congratulate Mr. Kanishk Gaur, founder of India Future Foundation, for his pioneering role in innovation technology in leadership. Congratulations, sir.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Next, we have Mr. Avinash Shukla, DGM and CISO, UCO Bank. Congratulations, sir.
Thank you very much.
Next, we have Ms. Babitha BP, CISO, Catholic Syrian Bank. Congratulations, ma'am.
Thank you.
Next, we have Mr. Rishikant Dubey, Chief Risk Officer, Microfin Limited. Congratulations, sir.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
We have Mr. Balram Choudhary, CISO, ASK Group. Congratulations, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
We have Mr. Naseem, Halder, CISO, Acko. Congratulations, sir.
Thank you.
We have Mr. Ashwin, Prabhu, Head IT and Engineering, KreditBee. Congratulations, sir.
Thank you.
I would like to thank all of you for taking out your precious time for this particular panel discussion and making this event and this session a great success.
Thank you very much, Neha. It was really great, and thanks for your time.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you
Thanks,
all.
everyone.
Yeah.